and complex to be left to governments. Good evening and welcome to Face to Face. I'm your host Niresh Eliatambi. With me this evening is Mr. Maithri Gunaratne, President's Council and former governor of 2 provinces. Welcome, Maithri.
Thank you very much, Niresh, for the invite.
Right. So, Maithri, it's been 1 month since the cabinet was sworn in. Are we seeing enough progress, or are we seeing certain slowness in decision making?
Niresh, more than any progress, I think this government is becoming a comedy of errors.
Why do you say that?
No, because Niresh, now for instance, I think this has been beaten for some time. The speaker's fiasco, where
over his qualifications,
and we are informed that there are about another 10 to 12 people who have submitted false qualifications. The issue is, Niresh, I mean, people have qualifications to date. No one questioned these qualifications because they were never put in issue. Now, with the NPP, what they portrayed to the people is, okay, look here, we have got an ultra qualified team. We have got engineers, we have got doctors, we have got specialists, we have got all these people, and therefore you need to vote for us. So the selling point was that we have a really supra qualified team who is going to run this country. So when you place your qualification at stake, or when you put that forward, then you open it for scrutiny. So then what happened was, Niresh, when these guys got in, and now for instance, the speaker, by profession he's a welder. I mean, we have nothing against welders, right? But naturally, when you are a welder and you have been in a union, I mean, he has been more over and above that, he has been a union leader in the Petroleum Corporation. So now, people start putting 2 and 2 together. Now, we'll say if Niresh Eliatambi went into parliament and you said you had a doctorate, no one would have questioned it. But now when you see this guy who's a welder, who has been a trade union leader, suddenly the fellow gets elevated to parliament, he gets a doctorate, then people start questioning. So this is where the curiosity has been aroused rather. So once the curiosity has been aroused, people started, and today, Niresh, you don't need to write to universities. Everything is on the
absolutely. Your entire history is on the internet.
So it's on the internet. So you get all that, and then you start investigating. So moment you make a breakthrough and you see their reaction, you find that they are on the back foot.
And also, Maithri, Sri Lanka is a small country where everyone knows everyone.
Precisely. So the issue is, Niresh, today, unless other than during election, for some reason they would have said, where is his certificate? But only after the NPP came into power that these qualifications really mattered, because they came solely on that, and people voted with blind faith. Now you take the preferential votes, they have got their main candidates. In Colombo, 600,000, Gampa, 700,000. So unprecedented amount of votes. So this is total blind faith. So what I'm saying is, Niresh, when you come before the people, you must be as genuine as possible.
Now, Maithri, in many other democracies, let's take the UK, US and so on, there is a long period, the run-up to elections, where people like civil society activists and the media, they go through all these things with a fine-tooth comb.
Correct.
Not just qualifications, but what is the past record of politicians at their local or state levels, how have they voted on key issues, and everything is looked into, because there are many months in which the election campaign goes on. But in Sri Lanka, this was more of a snap election, and the time period between the nominees being known and then the election was far too short to do that kind of vetting. I mean, we in the media don't have the resources like that. If we had 6 months, certainly. So this is one of the drawbacks, of our system. But then once you get in, then there's enough time for all these qualifications and everything to be queried. So this is actually the system running its course. Of course, we didn't expect the speaker to be, a culprit in this, or allegedly so.
No, but he tried to defend himself at the first instance. Then he found that the defense is also worse than the offense. So then there was nothing that he could do but to give his resignation. So, and the other thing is that, Nilesh, I go one step further. Now, President Anurakumara Dissanayaka came and promised that the law will be upheld and all the wrongdoers will be punished. So, like Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, if you remember or recollect, the first guy whom he punished was one of his own cabinet ministers on a corruption issue.
Absolutely.
So now, if President...
Although that would hardly be termed corruption in our country.
Precisely.
It was just a very small infraction, but
he did it. Out he went. So if President Anukumar Dissanayaka is serious about his bringing in a complete stop to corruption and all this kind of waste, well, this is a very good chance for him to show it to the people, demonstrate.
But do you think that there's a lessening of faith on the part of the public when things like this happen, or is it still that honeymoon period?
No, I think the honeymoon period is gradually weaning off, and the people who were vociferously defending them have now taken they're on the back foot, Nilesh. They are also wondering whether what they have done is the right thing. Because as I said, comedy of errors, Nilesh, everything they are doing now, you look at the rice fiasco. Okay, now they are bringing down rice. So as they bought the first few containers, they were all not fit for human consumption. And apparently this rice contains protein also. So therefore, it is not only rice; there is protein also in the rice. So it's a two-in-one kind of rice they are bringing in. So the customs and the health authorities, food authorities have said this is not fit for human consumption. So what I'm saying is, Nilesh, nothing positive. And the other thing is, now we'll say they have reduced vehicles, there are certain things which they have done, which they claim to have done. But what is the effect it has?
How does it affect the common man?
How does it affect the country? Is it being run better? Aren't there other important things to be done?
Is anti-corruption actually moving forward? Are jobs being created? Is the cost of living coming down?
These are things which this government should have answered. And the other thing is, Nilesh, now the president is in his office for the last 3 months. It is only the parliament and the cabinet which has come in 1 month ago. So, I mean...
But even 1 month might...
No, I'm asking
even
you
1 month. I mean, look...
Can I ask you a question? Now, if you were recruited to any organization, and if you asked, when they came and asked you, as you started working, if you ask them, I need 1 month to show any kind of result, you think they'll keep you there?
Absolutely not. You have to, from day one, you have to start working.
Day one, you have to start working, and you have to show some kind of results that the work you are doing will bring this kind of result to you or to the organization. So what I'm saying is, Nilesh, I mean, I don't want to be brutal with the government, but tell us what they can show. I mean, what have they done for us to see? Other than doing a complete photocopy of what Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe did.
So this is another of the allegations that that has been levelled at the NPP government, that they are not doing anything new.
Nothing new.
It is what Ranil Wickremesinghe did.
Precisely.
And of course, we can understand that it will take time to implement plans, but we need to actually see the plans, don't we?
We need to see the plans. And the other thing is, I don't know. I mean, I of course, I don't think, I mean, people have never given us time. From the time we are appointed to positions, people are expecting results.
Now, when you were appointed governor,
yes,
I think you were governor in the
Central Province
first, and then the Uva after that. Were you given 2 months, 3 months?
No way. No, I must tell you, Niresh.
Didn't the people show up at your doorstep with their problems from day one?
When I got my letter of appointment, I remember President Sirasa calling me and telling me, there is a huge garbage problem in Kandy. I want you to sort it out immediately. That was his instructions. And I'm telling you, Niresh, I got the letter maybe at a time at about 3:34. Next day in the morning, I went to Kandy. I did not go to my office. I informed the secretary. By that time, I got my office in Colombo had got hold of the secretary, and I went straight to the garbage dump. I started my work at the garbage dump in Kandy, and within 1 month, I was able to control the smell, control the garbage, and do a lot of work. Within 2 to 3 months, we've completely eradicated the garbage problem in Kandy. The same thing happened in Badulla. So I think, and I thereafter, if I remember right, it is after 3 or 4 days that I took over the position. I went, and there's a ceremony when you take over as governor. So it was about 4 days thereafter. So moment I got the letter, no waiting. So then within 1 week or 2 weeks, President called me and said, very lasanta karagana now then. He called and he said, you are already off the mark. You are doing a good job.
Well,
people
obviously he had feedback from people
because the point is, Niresh, it was stinking to even to the Kandy town, to the Katugaskota area. It was a massive collection of garbage. So for years and years, with no management of it. So moment the stench was reduced or was completely got rid of, it was a major awakening for the people. Then they started talking. And of course, the word would have come to Colombo. He must be having his people, friends who are there. And he called and said, you have already sorted it out. So there was no time, Niresh. I mean, that we went off the mark. 18 hours a day I used to work. Right? So I can't comprehend how these people are coming and saying we need 1 month to get our bearings, in order, or to get it focused. I mean, there are people who came and said that. Now you would remember, Niresh, they said that every ministry will have an advisory council. Now I like to know who this advisory council is. Do you know?
Not yet.
Hey,
so
do you?
Yeah.
I mean, so
I presume it's still in the process of being appointed.
No. They said that for every ministry, we have 15 or some advisors. They will be advising the minister. Minister will not be taking decisions. The advisory council will be meeting and deciding and telling them what to do. So what I'm asking.
But where do you find that number of people?
I don't know.
22 ministries, and if you have 15 people on each council.
300 people. You're talking about 300 people.
That's a lot.
So what I'm saying is they are not being able to walk their talk. They are not just completely unable to walk their talk. And in the alternative, Niresh, I feel they never thought that they'll get power. This rhetoric is superb if you are in opposition.
But Maithri, I mean, perhaps a year ago, people weren't certain that the NPP would come to power, including most NPPers. But say 6 months ago, 4 months ago.
But I don't know, Niresh, whether they were 100%, they believe that they will come into power. I feel it's that. That's why they don't have any plan at all. I mean, there are so many ministries, 22 ministries. I mean, so many things can be done.
We don't hear a lot from many of those ministries.
No one.
From some, we see them constantly. The Justice Minister, we see him visiting places, and the Prime Minister and so on. But some ministers seem to have just gone dark.
I think they have been overwhelmed by this appointment. They have still not recovered from the shock. That is the only interpretation I can give them, because they never expected this. And whatever said done, there is 22 ministers, 22 or whatever deputy ministers out of this 159. My personal opinion is I don't think they had the suitable people to hold these positions.
Well, 22 ministers and 29 deputy ministers. Yes. But I mean, that's not an enormous number, Maithri. I mean, in the past, governments have had...
I'm not complaining of the numbers, Niresh. Even if it has increased to 25, there is no problem. All we need is results. All we need is results. Because, Niresh, we have to start paying the loans maybe by 2026. Okay? If we don't increase our production now, we will never be able to meet that repayment plan. So to make that, to start making those payments, we need to get our production, we need to get manufacturing going. So if we don't do that, Niresh, we are not going to move 1 inch forward. Now they appointed a guy to the BOI. Now BOI, what is the investment he has bought in? Whom has he spoken to?
And what are their plans?
What are their plans? What are their plans?
Obviously, Maithri, you can't bring in investment in 1 month, but at least the plans of, we're going here, we're going to
at least, Niresh,
focus on this and that.
No, what I'm saying is this. The biggest stumbling block is access to, we'll say the chairman, the minister. In most governments, that was the biggest stumbling block. Because...
But is it the same this time?
So, what I'm saying is yes. Now, is the chairman or the whoever of the BOI, has he got an open door policy? Can any investor go and meet him and talk to him? Because I know, Niresh, there are so many people who have come to this country to meet a minister in the previous regimes. To meet and talk, you have to pay. That's why we never got...
That's where the corruption started.
I mean, they don't help. There is no patronage. Just for a meeting with the honorable minister,
the foreign investor has to pay.
So they cannot comprehend that scenario. Because I'm telling you, because of the petroleum resources, we have in the Mana Basin, we have gas and oil and gas in the Mana Basin.
So we have been told for the last 30 years.
Because it is one of my relatives who was the chairman, Sali Surya, who was the chairman of and he's a world-renowned guy. And he was telling me that when these big, massive players come to Sri Lanka and want to talk, our guys are demanding for money. So why should they pay money to come and invest in this country? There is no necessity. So whether that same thing, I'm not accusing that these guys are taking money, but at least, Niresh, have an open door policy. I would say if I was appointed to the BOI, I would have bought my desk to right to the entrance where the reception is, and I would have told anyone, come, we want investment. Let it be open. Anyone can come, and some fellows may come with the most outrageous plans. But then you have a vetting process. You have 4 or 5 fellows who are conversant in this, and see whether these guys are talking sense and whether they have the money and they have the plan.
Now, Maithri, is it also that the people have suffered for the last 3 or 4 years? I mean, ever since COVID and then the economic meltdown, and of course then the Ranil Wickremesinghe government, people have been suffering. So there is this urgent need and the desire for people to to have this turned around very quickly, isn't it? And to do that, they want to see the plans.
No, so this urgent need, they are in an urgent need, but these people have no plan to meet those needs. That's what's happening.
So perhaps these are more long-term plans, which once they are set in motion.
The point is, a journey of 10,000 steps starts with the first or the second, or Niresh.
That's very philosophical.
Right. So you have.
But you are correct. You need to start going.
You need to start going. You need to start going. So, are they going? Is the question. And there are certain things. Okay, vehicles, misuse of vehicles, and all that. Now they are trying to apparently sell some vehicles and things like that, Niresh.
But those are very small.
They are very small. They are not even, worth talking. If they think that is the magical actions which is going to bring Sri Lanka out of the debt crisis, God help them.
So, Maithri, again, the expectations of this government were placed very high by the NPP themselves.
Yes.
Because, so many promises of when we get to power, within 24 hours, 48 hours, we're going to do this and that, and completely wipe out corruption very quickly, and so on. And so many promises. The expectations were really set very high. Far more, I think, than the people desired. But now that they're in office, the sort of slow pace at which things are evolving.
No, that's what I'm.
There's a contrast.
But that's what I'm saying. They set the high standards with the anticipation that they never thought that they will be elected. So the only reasonable answer I can give is, okay, you promise something very well knowing that that fellow can't do it. So then ultimately, if he does it, you have to keep your promise. So it's the same thing which has happened here. They kept a very high standard of what they are going to deliver. They were not sure whether they are going to be elected, but suddenly they were elected, and now they have no plan. They have no plans. They have no counsel for these ministries. So if they are transparent, they have preached transparency. They have preached anti-corruption. They have preached good governance. So, having preached all these great things in a democratic system, they are not holding up to that mark.
On the other hand, Maithri, we saw, especially under President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, all kinds of ad hoc decisions being taken by the president himself on the advice of goodness knows who, and they were clearly wrong decisions, and he wouldn't budge from the decisions that he took. The ban on chemical fertilizer. Every farmer in this country, and you didn't need to be a farmer, but everyone knew that it's the wrong decision. But he wouldn't budge. And then you had, I think, the GMOA, the head of the GMOA,
advising
him and saying his decision was correct.
There is a similarity to that situation in the present government, Niresh.
But Maithri, the key issue, I think, with the present government is that the decisions aren't coming fast enough.
No. I'm talking about the rice issue. Now, the rice, the prices of rice going up, and the supply of rice, these are becoming main issues now. And now with the bountiful, in the sense, rain we have had in the last 2 months, most of the paddy will be coming into the market by about January. It is at that time that the imported rice is also going to be coming into the country. So I see a situation. Our paddy is being harvested, imported rice is coming in. What happened to our onions, what happened to our potatoes are going to happen to our paddy farmer. So that is where the crisis is going to start in the same magnitude as during Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa's time of the fertilizer crisis. So rice and fertilizer affects 60 to 70%. Rice will affect maybe 90% of the people. Fertilizer will affect 60% of the people. So if the rice crisis cannot be sorted out, if the prices cannot be kept at reasonable levels, I feel that same type of scenario in a bigger way will snowball on this government.
But now, once again, Maithri, the supply of such essentials to the public shouldn't be a political decision at all, in my opinion. I mean, when you think of the UK, the US and other democracies, it's not the president who decides, this is going to be the price and there shouldn't be a shortage and all that. There are civil servants and there are proper plans which are set throughout the year.
The issue is Niresh, when they were in opposition and when the incumbent government started bidding in rice to overcome the situation where you were just talking about now, we'll say the food department or the whoever, the authority will know what our stock is, will know what we need and what our demand is. So then at that right time, they will say no. Now to meet this shortage, shortfall, we need to bring so many tons of rice from outside. So that was done, and there were no hiccups during that time because those officials were monitoring the supply and demand and the consumption,
which is easy to do. Because every village has an agriculture development officer,
and not only that. When you take the heads, you do take a head count, and the amount of rice will say each person eats. You can work out the mathematics of how much rice you need for a day and for a month and for a year. But now this government, when that was happening, when they were bringing in small amounts of rice to see that there is no shortfall, they said, "Api hal ඇටයක්වත් පිටරටින් ගේන්න දෙන්නේ නැහැ."
But once again, Maithri, the handling of the rice, I don't want to call it a rice crisis. It shouldn't be a crisis at all because we have sufficient rice in the country, but it's in the hands of some of the mill owners. So it's a cartel operation, which is the problem.
Yes. So these guys promised that they are going to break the cartels. They are going to dismantle the cartels and give rice at an affordable price without importing. So what I'm saying is that they need to deliver on their promises, because otherwise they are slowly becoming a laughing stock. And moment people start joking and you become a joke, then you can't govern.
But Maithri, this is a government which came to power with 159 seats in parliament. There's such massive support for it among the public, and of course very little support for the main opposition party and the small opposition parties. That's another matter. But 159 seats.
Phenomenal.
So the expectations are very high.
Very high.
And people want that that power to be used because it's a situation where the ruling party could get anything passed in parliament.
Definitely.
Which is actually not a great situation.
No, but
it can be used.
But the
for the benefit of the people
had so much of confidence in them. When Anurag Kumara, the president, got only 42% at the presidential election, they gave an overwhelming mandate at the parliamentary election. I mean, I don't think in any part of the world, has any government, any president got 2/3 and more. And the other thing is, Niresh, now President Anurag Kumara Dissanayake has absolutely no excuses. He is the president. He has got a parliament of 159. There are no provincial councils. He has appointed the 9 governors. There are no local government bodies. All are run by commissioners. So all he needs to do is get 40 odd proper CEOs to run the local government bodies, and the local government bodies you can make a major change. Already he has got governors, but the governors, no one knows whether they are in situ or not. That's the basic news we are getting. They are non-existent. They can't be seen. They can't be heard. Because mind you, today the governor is exercising the total power of the provincial council, including the chief minister, cabinet, and so many MPs in the provincial council system. So all that, and he has got a parliament of 159, okay, and the presidency. So it is up to him if he wants to make this a Singapore or a Malaysia or a Switzerland. I would say 3 months is too long.
Hold that thought, Maithri, because we are going for a short commercial break right now. We are in conversation with Mr. Maithri Gunaratne, President's Council. We'll be right back.
The Lanka T10 Super League is hitting the pitch for the first time in Sri Lanka. 6 fierce teams, 1 trophy. Redefining the game on home soil. From the 11th to the 19th of December at the Pallekele International Cricket Stadium. Chase the pace of high-speed T10 cricket.
TV1. TV for life.
Today is the 18th of December 2024. President Maithri concluded his visit to India and also made it to the parliament this for a debate. Now, he also addressed the parliament, and to give us a brief on this today, we have Dr. Jamal Ramdan. Jamal, what did the president make in his speech today?
Yes, Joe, I'd like to mention today's bulletin will be predominantly about the proceedings of Parliament, and Parliament commenced this morning at 9:30 a.m. and President Maithri also appeared at the parliamentary sitting shortly after. President Maithri speaking to members of Parliament, apprised them and all the general public that certain negotiations were carried out with the IMF. He announced there will be a new structure for the payee or the pay-as-you-earn tax thresholds. They have been amended, they will be amended, and President Dissanayake also announced a host of relief measures for the general public. He also mentioned that the importation of private vehicles will be allowed from February 2025 in a structured manner. There was also a debate about Namal Rajapaksa, MP Namal Rajapaksa's educational qualifications, while Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa, like he promised yesterday during parliamentary proceedings, to present his educational qualifications. He did present his educational qualifications, so we will be coming to you live at 9 p.m. That is it from the local arena.
There's definitely some developments there, along with the arrival of the president in the country last night, and especially after he addressed the parliament this evening. At the same time, we've also been following closely the situation in India, as there has been air pollution in New Delhi. To give us a brief on this, we have with us today Shalini Ratnavira. Shalini, what is happening in the international arena?
Yes, Rod. So in Delhi, the AQI or the air quality index has reached severe category. So Delhi's pollution has once again reached hazardous levels, and a top expert warns that India's toxic air will have a bigger impact on the public health, more than the COVID-19 pandemic, which is a very crucial fact. And also in other news, Russia's security service says that a 29-year-old man from Uzbekistan has been detained over the killing of senior general Igor Kirillov and his assistant in Moscow. Now, to get a more comprehensive report on these stories and much more, you will have to stay tuned for our prime time bulletin at 9.
Yes, just like Shalini said, for a comprehensive report on these stories and much more, tune in to our prime time news bulletin at 9 on TV1.
Welcome back to Face to Face. We are in conversation with Mr. Maithri Gunaratne, President's Council. Now, Maithri, just before the break, you hit upon what I think is a key point, that President Anurukumara Dissanayake actually has almost absolute power.
Precisely.
Which fortunately he has not used
to the detriment of anyone
yes.
up to now, yes.
So that's wonderful.
That's good.
But he has all these powers. He has 2/3 and more in Parliament. He has been able to appoint the cabinet that he wants.
Of his choice.
And then
governors of his choice.
Governors of his choice. And of course, since basically no one else controls any institution, any government or local government institution in the country, so he has these powers.
Definitely.
So if he takes a decision, and if he takes it with the backing of his party, it will happen.
Definitely.
And if anyone tries to block it, let's say some civil servant in a Pradesh Sabha,
they won't stand a chance.
Yeah, they won't stand a chance at all.
No.
So why isn't this being used for the good of the people?
I of course, reluctantly, I will have to say, it is total inefficiency and their inability to perform.
But is it also perhaps this government by consensus business, which are they referring everything back to the centre instead of taking decisions?
I don't think
in the provinces?
If they are doing it, of course, then they are doomed. If that is the normal style of the JVP, there is no delegation of power. Power is absolutely centralized in the JVP decision making process. And if they are going to use the same system for running of the government, then of course, Niresh, we have no chance of getting out of this mess.
Running a party
is a different issue.
Running this complex government with 1.6 million civil servants.
And if every decision has to be communicated to the party and the hierarchy, and if it has to come back with the amount of work the president and the others have, this is not going to work. Clearly, it's not going to work. You need to delegate the powers. You need to get them. That's where you need trustworthy people. That's where you need a team. So if you have trustworthy people in a team, and if they are able, all you have to do is to unleash them, and they will perform. But the sad thing is, Niresh, we are also eager to see someone who is promising. Someone who is promising, okay, this guy, he seems to be knowing what he is doing. But I am very sad to say, Niresh, up to now I have not come across a person like that.
No, Maithri, you've always been what I would call a patriotic-minded politician.
Definitely.
Because you're a politician as a second choice. You're obviously a President's Council, and law is your bread and butter. So you are involved in politics simply for the good of the country.
Certainly.
And I think even the last election, you were wondering whether or not your party should contest and so on. And of course, I would say most Sri Lankans, maybe over 90%, want this government to succeed.
Definitely.
Including you.
Definitely.
So there may be a few in some opposition parties who don't want it to succeed.
No.
But the overwhelming support of the people and the officials are for this government. So the government can push through anything.
No, there is nothing stopping them from being a success, other than themselves. Nothing stopping them, because as you said before, Niresh, overwhelming support, and all of us. Actually, when the first 1 or 2 weeks when they came into power, and I think I came on your program and I was wondering whether we should contest, as you very correctly pointed out now, because we thought, okay, if these guys are going to do a good job, why should we go and contest and, upset this? Let them come and do it. But I'm sad to say, Niresh, I don't have that same feeling now. I feel down the line, next 1 or 2 months, it's going to go from bad to worse. So, I mean, I don't know how you feel about it.
Well, we are hoping and waiting
That's right.
in expectancy.
So, but is that a positive way of life?
But Maithri, this could be turned around very quickly.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, if for example, we are pleasantly surprised by some wonderful plans which are being set up right now,
Correct.
and we are told from 1st January or whatever, this is what's going to happen, and this is where the country is going to be in 6 months, in 1 year, and a definitive plan, then, I mean, it's easy to do, isn't it?
No, the other thing is, Niresh, now you were talking of 1st of January, this is their plan. Now the president, when he inaugurated parliament, he made a speech. What is his plan in that?
Which was an excellent speech.
But what is the plan? No, I'll tell you one thing. Yes, he's an excellent speaker. I mean, he will sell a refrigerator to Eskimo, right? but that does not mean he can make the refrigerator to work. So his ability to speak, his ability of convincing and all this, I think is very good. But
he also has the knowledge, Maithri.
I don't know.
I mean, he is a qualified, intelligent person. There's no doubt about that. I mean, no one is saying.
There is no doubt about the qualifications and all that.
On the other hand, we have had presidents who basically were not fit to hold that post because when they got in, they were taking all kinds of ad hoc decisions. President Gotabaya is, of course, one example. A lot of wrong decisions and ended up in economic disaster, which the Supreme Court itself has endorsed. So, obviously, so President AKD is not such a leader.
We all don't perceive him as a leader like that. But only thing is, Niresh, these 3 months we have not seen very much. So that's our concern. It is not. I don't want to be critical of these people, but I'm concerned because it affects all of us.
But the clock is ticking, isn't it?
The clock is ticking, and 3 months is a long, very long time in governance. And I'm telling you, Niresh, to put this country right, only you need 6 months. I would say, I mean, even in 3 months, you can do so much to make a difference in the lives of the people that the people will be happy that these people are in power.
So, Maithri, the people demanded system change for years.
Yes.
That was the slogan. System change is required. So the systems are everything. It's not just who's president or who's prime minister and who's in parliament, but the very fabric of the operation of this country, and it should be relatively easy for decisions to be taken and people to be told, no, this has to happen. This is the system change that you wanted. So, but we don't see that. I mean, when you look around society, everybody is behaving in the same old way. I mean, the rice crisis, we have had rice crises before, where the mill owners have held the country hostage, and it appears to be happening again.
Again and again. No, now, Niresh, I will tell you one very small thing. I mean, I don't want to brag about myself, but when I was in the central province, I made one speech when I started, and I said, if anyone sends me a video or a photograph of a government official on the phone, on their smartphone, when anyone calls upon them for any kind of service, I will first suspend their services only and have the inquiry. Okay, just one thing. Niresh, I'm telling you, there was no one using cell phones whilst they were working. There was no one. I never got any complaints.
So these are easy decisions.
What is that? I was only the governor who was the appointee of the president. But here is the president himself. Now, I'm telling you, Niresh, you or who are our viewers, if when you are driving, you look at any police officer other than during heavy traffic, who is right in the middle of the road directing traffic. Otherwise, you look at them, they are all, if they are on the side of the road, they are all with their mobile phones.
Yes.
As
a matter of fact, many of them are directing traffic. They are in the middle of the road, but they've got the phone.
Maybe mobile phone call is a different matter. But they are on this, whatever, Facebook or whatever. So now they are supposedly on duty. And when you are at an intersection, you are supposed to watch the intersection and to see who is making mistakes, who is breaching the law, and you are supposed to take them into custody. You're supposed to take.
So I mean, it's not just the police; it's officials all over.
All over.
So what we need is actually now the system change is actually behavior change, isn't it?
Precisely. So that's what I'm saying. So if we'll say now, if the president, I mean, it would have not cost him anything. It would have only gained so much of popularity for him if he came and said, "Look here, we are not going to tolerate any government servant using mobile phones during time of work. They get a lunch break of half an hour, 45 minutes or whatever, then they can use it. But when it is work, because public are paying for them. And when the public go to get anything done, Niresh, you can't be, the public can't be waiting till they finish their breakfast, till they finish reading the papers, till they finish answering their emails or SMSs, their WhatsApp. The public can't wait. But today, what is it? Although they have said they are going to make the system change, even that small incident, they cannot prevent. So, how can they come up with bigger plans is my issue.
On the other hand, Maithri, is it that the president and his party are looking at the next election, which is
what is the next election? There is no next election.
The local government.
Yeah, local government elections is maybe in April. And Niresh, if they go at this pace, they are going to get a pummeling at the local government elections. And then what is going to happen is, people will come out, we will tell, we can say, you have no mandate. The latest mandate is the local government election. And at the local government elections, if you have not been able to capture a sizable amount of local government bodies, there are 342 bodies. If they can't capture the majority of it, then they have no mandate.
But Maithri, when we got the results of the general election,
yes.
And then we thought, okay, if the local government elections are held in 3 months or so, the NPP will sweep almost all of them, perhaps a few in the northeast.
If they didn't come to the rice crisis, yes. And whatever the promises they have made with regard to petroleum, with regard to the electricity bills, with regard to all that, Niresh, they have not been able to keep. They said they are going to reduce the electricity bill by 70% or something like that.
I think there is a proposal now the CEB has given to the...
Those are all proposals which are going up and down, but there is no benefit for the public. Then they are coming into they are riding with the rice crisis, they are riding with the petrol crisis, they are riding with the electricity crisis, they are riding with a food shortage crisis. So with all this, if they go in for another election, then people are going to think twice with regard to giving them this vote, or this overwhelming support is going to dwindle. And then they will say, like they said when Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe became president for 2 years, you have no mandate. This is what they said.
However, they do have the mandate right now, overwhelmingly, as we discussed.
He has a mandate to be a dictator. Not that he is a dictator. He has the mandate to be if he wants to.
And we're happy he's not.
He's not. We are happy. I mean, that credit must go to him. And whatever said done, and as a person, he seems to be unassuming and simple. which are good things which we must appreciate. But that itself is not going to be enough. We need action, and we need action which is going to bring this country out of the economic mess. And still, Niresh, now, I mean, system change, you would have expected no queues at the passport office, still the queues are on. So what do you think that they think that they have faith in this country just because the NPP has come in? No. The exodus is still the same. So these are factors which at a election, I mean, I think the local government election is going to come in by about March, April. So March, April is a very long time in a country like this.
These could be crucial factors.
Crucial factors. These are going to be crucial factors.
On the other hand, the government could perform very well over the next 3 months. And
I hope so. We hope so. And,
they'll sweep the next election.
Yeah, the thing is, Niresh, I mean, if they want our support, we are always willing to talk to them now. My friend, Mr. Harshana Nanakar, a very close friend of mine, I called him and I said, whatever help you want, there are small suggestions we can make for your, I mean, simple things like now, Niresh, you go to a member of the public goes to a magistrate's court or a court to get a certified copy of a proceeding. The first thing they are going to hear is the computer has broken down or the photocopy machine has broken down. So now that is a 2 months process, because they had to call for tenders, they had to do all this rigmarole to get this thing going. So I told the Honorable Minister, I said, why do you need to buy and go into buying photocopy machines, and computers and things like that? Outsource it. Call for tenders, get a price and say whoever can photocopy a page for 5 rupees or 6 rupees. Now near universities, most of the universities, near the universities, there are agency post officers which photocopy at a very subsidized rate, 5 rupees. They are still making money. It's no subsidy. They are making money. So if you can get someone like that, I mean, private sector guys will come. You give them a space. You devolve a system as to how you can get the case record photocopied, and public are happy. Everyone is happy. These are small things, Dinesh. What I'm saying is they cannot come up with even a small thing like this.
Now, apart from the overwhelming support for the President and the NPP domestically, he enjoys quite a lot of support internationally as well. I mean, from the IMF and World Bank, ADB, all that. And I don't think a single other country has been unhappy with.
No, as far as they are concerned, he has kept the country's promises to them. So there is no need for them to be unhappy. The people who are unhappy are the people of Sri Lanka, whom he has promised that he is going to reduce these things and not done. So he is unable to satisfy both parties. Now the main, because I of course feel that is right, Nivesh. He has to, we can't upset the IMF and the World Bank right now. And we don't need to do that. I mean, when all of us are in debt or we are financially bad, we go to a bank comes out with a plan, they explain the plan to us, we agree that we can pay these installments, we agree that we are going to pay this amount, so we have to make those payments. You can't play around with the banks like most governments have done before, not only in Sri Lanka, abroad. One government contracts with the IMF, the next government comes and flouts it. You can't do that with international organizations. Moment you do that, then we get into a very bad status.
So you're saying that general handling of the international situation
I feel it's good. But the only thing is,
and also it has been decisive, hasn't it? I mean, we always, I think, before the elections, we discussed the tightrope that he would have to walk between India and China. Yeah. He seems to have done so quite successfully. Quite decisive in that way.
And what I'm saying is, Niresh, India is our closest neighbor. I think our foreign policy should be the people who are closest to us. We should be closest to, because and not that I'm being trying to push anyone else away. But when we were in a financial crisis, whatever said and done, Prime Minister Modi's government came and gave us financial assistance. Even the Bangladesh government gave us. So those have always, we need to pay gratitude, Dinesh. I mean, we can't just forget these things. And then I remember Tamil Nadu Chief Minister, I think Mr. Stalin, he sent a shipload of foodstuffs. And I saw people even from tea boutiques in India were collecting money to send for Sri Lanka, buy milk powder, buy medicines and things like that. So these gestures, one cannot forget. And I think India is a main player in the world politics, world economics and all that. And we must be very close to India. We must cultivate India and we will benefit from them. As it is, Niresh, as it is, the most tourists who are coming to Sri Lanka is from India. So these are direct benefits we are getting.
And also the President's 3-day visit to India has been extraordinary.
And he has got a rousing welcome, rousing reception. And I hope he discusses the plan where we can start that road from Mannar to India, 22 kilometers. These are things which, these are things, if he comes and then people will say, okay, now this guy is talking the language we understand. Okay, because Niresh, 1.6 billion Indians, you get 1% of them coming into Sri Lanka per year by road. That is 16 million tourists coming into Sri Lanka. Just imagine 16 million tourists coming and spending $50 per tourist for every 2-3 days or whatever. I mean, our economy will just take off. Our economy will just take off. So these are the large plans the President and the government must talk about.
So unfortunately, Maithri, we are running out of time. But
as usual.
But one final question. Would you say that the same decisiveness that the President has shown internationally needs to be applied here domestically?
Definitely. I mean, and our complaint is that decisiveness in local politics or in local decision making is not there. They are vacillating. They are delaying. And vacillation causes irreparable damage to the country and the fabric of democracy and everything. Because people are not always going to be patient and waiting for this. So they have to deliver as fast as possible, and we'll say even January, we'll forget this 3 months and we'll take it from January and see when we get up on the 1st of January, whether we'll have grandiose plans and hope that the people will be satisfied with the vote they have given them.
And on that note, we must leave you tonight. My thanks to Mr. Maithri Gunaratne.
Thank you very much, Niresh.
President's Counsel, who is of course a frequent commentator on the political scene.
It's a pleasure to come to your program.
Thank you for being here. And thank you to you at home for watching. Don't go away because the news is coming up next. Have a good evening.